Hey.
So, hey, welcome back everybody to my podcast, which technically is still pending a title. But here today, I got one of my closest homies. You may or may not know him from his own podcast of Like Minds, but here sitting with me today is Kevin Belisario.
Thank you for having me, Matt. I'm excited to do this, man.
Yeah, of course. I mean, given that I am starting this new podcast thing, it only made like the most sense to have you on it as one of my first guests because, I work with you on your podcast.
Mhm.
Um, so why not have you on my podcast?
Absolutely. I'm just excited. It's always fun just talking to you and catching up and just, ever since that you and I met at back at UCLA, it's always been fun. So I'm excited to just kick it with you today, man.
Happy to have you here. I think, for the people that don't already know you, want to just give me like a brief rundown of who Kevin Belisario is. Like imagine
Oh,
this is your GQ exclusive. Like who is Kevin Belisario?
oh my God. Kevin Belisario. Oh, educator, investor, curious artist, um, dancer. I feel like I take on many things, put on many hats. We'll say that.
No, you definitely do. I guess take me through your upbringing, like Kevin Belisario through the years.
Man, yeah, I mean, long story short, I think like probably like 50% of America, I grew up in a family that my family or my parents were divorced. And so I actually, for the most part, grew up in an all-woman household. And so I have this just profound respect for women and just different perspective on, getting insight on from my grandma and my auntie and my cousin who's about 5 years older than me. So like all these different age ranges and just being really open-minded and just basic, instilling basic manners and morals and all these things. And education was big. And that was kind of like this is like your way out, or like this gives you an opportunity to be something. And so that eventually led to UCLA, and that eventually led to you and I meeting. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell, I would say.
Cool. And of course, for those of us that do know you, you are an incredibly talented dancer. Um, and I know we've talked about this in a few different iterations in the past, but I would love to hear again in terms of, when you first discovered dance as this big part of your life, discovered it as that initial passion, and of course, like at what point you knew that you wanted to pursue dance as your career.
Man.
It's kind of loaded, so like we can break it down like
Yeah.
piece by piece.
Yeah. I mean, I think the first time that I was getting into dance, like in a structured setting, was um, I used to take dance classes with all my cousins. I was the youngest on my mom's side, and about after a month of taking beginning classes, the teacher at the time, asked me if I was interested to join a group, and then from there it led to formality, and that was back in 2001. So I think I was right before I turned 8 or 9. And so
Are there
we
any
just kind of
videos on
started there.
YouTube by any chance of you in
Yeah,
formality,
yeah,
like little Kevin?
it's fun. Yeah, you can still find things, which is kind of crazy because I don't know how it stood the test of time. Like those videos were out before YouTube was a thing, which is funny. So that kind of started for me, and then from there it was just it wasn't really until I think when I was at the Performing Arts School, a CPA in San Diego, maybe early high school, where I was like, I think I'm going to do this because with that whole idea of like higher education being like that wasn't really an option. It's just like you need to be competitive, like you need to have this under your belt. I said, if I'm going to go into debt and go to college, like I'm going to do something I really love. And when I was 14 through 18, I was like, this is the only thing I love. And so that led to that. So I think it was decided in high school where I was like, early high school, where I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this.
There are a lot of things I want to say, but I don't know how exactly I want to say it. I mean, like it goes without saying how talented, not just as you, like you're not just talented as a dancer, you're also very talented as an educator, as a teacher. And that's very apparent in terms of how you lead workshops, how you lead classes. And I've been able to, have the privilege to sit on some of those, whether they were kind of the more casual garage classes back at UCLA, in like lot 7 or whatever
Mm-hmm.
the lots remember
Mm-hmm.
now, because that all changes.
Yeah.
As well as everything that you've been doing since then, like being able to sit on a snow globe class back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, it definitely rings true in terms of how both education and dance are really core to who you are as a being. And like as a fellow creative, I've always been curious about your process. I know we've talked about like here and there, but I really want to get inside your brain in terms of where choreography starts for you and how
Mm,
like if there is like a usual progression that you go through, or if it like varies from piece to piece.
mm. Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think overall, like if I'm just creating movement to if I'm creating more intricate movement to teach like an advanced class or whatever it may be, I like to I have a playlist where I have a bunch of songs where I know pretty well because I listen to them all the time. And I'm at a point right now where it's more I have to be I guess I'm kind of inspired by like the my emotion or how what's happening in life. And so sometimes it's really hard. Like I can know a song at the back of my head, but back of my hand, but I'm not inspired to move to it. So for me, it just comes with repetition of listening to music, and then knowing that music really well. And then if I'm in a mood to like move to something smoother, move to something like with a sexier sound, then sequences will come to me. But along with that, I personally don't usually like 95% of the time, I'm not really in the studio trying it. 95% of the time, it's like I just sit down and I tell this all the time to people. It's like as long as my feet can touch the floor and I can like have an idea where my weight's at, I create mostly when I'm sitting down. Very few times like I'll try it standing up, but yeah, for the most part, as long as I know the song, so a lot of repetition, just listening to a bunch of the same music, which is also why like I feel like I don't really know like the new stuff because I'm so caught up with like listening over and over to the stuff that like I enjoy from years past. So it's like hard to stay up to date with music. But yeah, that's overall my process. Listening to music, a lot of repetition, knowing like the back of my hand, as long as I can sit down, have my feet on the floor, and like understand like where my weight's gonna be at, that's typically my process.
No, I got you. In terms of being like, I guess, quote unquote, stuck in the past, that's totally fair because you are entitled to like what you
Yeah.
like. That's where like influences stem from,
Mm,
anyways. Always going to those cornerstones of what inspired you to start in the first place, what like pieces um inspired you to kind of go in like one direction versus like another
yeah.
direction. That's completely fair. On that topic, I'm curious if there are any artists that people would be surprised to know are in like your Spotify top artists or top songs.
Um,
Like, I guess any
Surprise.
guilty pleasures. Let's put it that way.
Guilty pleasure. I
Yeah.
love me some really really good. I don't know if I can necessarily say an artist in particular, but there's just like I love just moving like very feminine. Like there's a couple songs like Mariah Carey's "Emotions," like that's been in my playlist for years, and it just one of those like it's like when it's the right time or the right crowd to teach that who'd be down for that. But I really love moving like that, and it's more so just like I kind of like to be like a chameleon and like adjust to like okay, I know the group, I know the kind of people I'll be teaching, so I'm gonna kind of cater to that. But if I were to say guilty pleasures, it's definitely moving really feminine and just having fun with that because I feel really comfortable in that. And it's not all the time that I get to teach that because I feel like maybe this group of people would enjoy it, but definitely moving feminine. And like the first song that came to mind was "Emotion" by Mariah Carey.
No, that's good. I mean, okay, on the topic, I will say some of my favorite pieces of yours are where you dance feminine. Like, oh, okay, Kevin. Yeah, work it. You got it.
I appreciate that. I
It's in your
love that.
bag.
I love that. See, this is exactly what I love. Is like, and not everyone's gonna like be down for that. Other people may like other
Yeah.
things, but I appreciate that you also love those things as well.
No, of course. It really speaks to your versatility as well as your musicality, because not all male choreographers can kind of flex in that sort of style.
Mm,
And the way that you are able to do it's really awesome.
thank you.
Makes me even wish more so that I could dance just in general.
You can dance, man. You can dance.
No, I'm just living vicariously through you and
All
everything that
the
you're doing.
I've seen you all the culture nights. You can dance. You can dance, man.
Yeah, if they're like sticks for tinikling, I can like dance through the sticks. I can hop through them. I can throw them.
That's actually really difficult for those of you listening to nickling. That's it's if you don't have rhythm and you very much do, then it gets really difficult. So, and I've seen
Yeah.
you kill it in multiple styles I've never even dove into before. So I'm like, stop, don't
Come on.
play.
No, I really wish I got an earlier start learning how to dance because it wasn't until college that I realized dancing was a thing. And I
Oh
guess like to
wow.
put like in further perspective, which we didn't really talk in my podcast, but I was the token Asian kid out of all my friends in Clovis, and like all of them like were mostly like
Mm,
white people, and
yeah.
of course like they, I shouldn't say of course, but there wasn't a strong dance presence in our area either, like in terms of extracurriculars at school or
Mm,
like a dance studio that was being very um I don't want to say progressive. Progressive isn't the right term, but like most of their focus would be on say like jazz, ballet,
mm,
as opposed to branching out into other styles.
yeah.
Um and so like of course growing up I wasn't necessarily drawn in by that. And so by the time I got to college and I saw that everyone at least had some understanding of how to dance, I felt really out of my element, like, oh, this is a thing. I felt like I should have studied this before going to college.
Mm,
Which is kind of silly. But in any case, I do wish I as was at least motivated enough to give it a shot. Because
mm,
I feel like I definitely would have done it in high school. Definitely would have done
yeah.
it in college as well.
I could definitely see that. I wish you did too. I think that'd been, and I
Yeah,
think you can start that literally today.
that's true. I could start later today.
That's the
You could
cool
be
thing
my
with.
teacher if you want.
Oh, there you go. I
There
mean,
we
see,
go.
that's the cool thing with dance is like it's you don't really need like it's not like too expensive of a hobby until you start taking formal classes. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like for you, if like you have to learn how to do music, it's like you that's a little bit more difficult in my opinion. Like you have to get an instrument, you have to get someone to teach you a progression or like to read notes. You know, whereas dancing is like you're kind of reacting to sound, and not to say you have to dance to sound, but like that's kind of a lot of where at least I grew up, and you can kind of we kind of do that just in our culture, like just in Filipino parties, like you're used to just you have it in you already. Now it's just like you're probably talking about like a more like structured setting and like more intricate setting, like what we're doing at UCLA. But yeah, so do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great way of putting it. I think there are definitely some comparisons in terms of learning an instrument as opposed to learning how to dance. Because, like, of course, with an instrument, it's gaining the familiarity with said instrument.
Yeah.
With dance, I think the instrument is your body, and you're gaining familiarity with your body
Yeah.
and how it moves, and like all of the pictures that you can essentially set for like a different
Yeah.
sequence.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. Anything about that.
In any case, I don't know. Maybe it'll be a quarantine project of mine.
Quarantine. I love
Among all
it.
the other quarantine projects like this podcast.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Can we just make me like learning how to dance like a side segment on of like minds?
You know, that'd be kind of cool actually. That would be, I mean, but we'd have to do it virtually, which kind of sucks because I feel like that's just such a terrible way to be introduced to dance. You know, for those of
Oh
you that
yeah,
are
it
like
definitely
learning,
is.
you know, it's just different. It's just dance is meant to be social, art's meant to be like interactive. And I feel like
Yeah.
if that's your intro, it's like, oh, maybe you should wait. You know what I mean? Like kind
Yeah.
of like you lose some, you win some. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dance will be there, art will be there. So
Yes, it will always
yeah.
be there.
I guess in that case, like I'm not necessarily in a rush, but it's always something in the back of my mind that I was more proactive about.
Yeah.
Especially seeing you dance to Mariah Carey's Emotions and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't know when that will come out, but it's on the to-do list. To be on the to-do list for quite some time.
Actually, on the topic of like your current pieces, which ones are you most surprised by?
Surprised
Like,
by.
yeah, in terms of like, oh, I kind of surprised by how much this piece shifted over time, or just in terms of like the end product of, oh, I didn't expect myself to make the piece in that fashion.
Hmm. That's a good question. Now I gotta like think.
Yeah,
I
putting you
gotta
on the spot,
think.
dude.
Um. Well, you know what is kind of wild is that I'm at a point where I've also been reaching back and pieces I created like 4 or 5 years ago where my body was different, my mentality was different. A lot of things have changed over time, and I've retaught those pieces in San Diego that I made in LA, and to a different group of people. Even the way I taught it and danced it was even though it's the same choreography, it felt different. And so I think reteaching and revisiting old work, um, it's those pieces. I think it's probably one of the, maybe it was the last one I posted that um right before quarantine. So this is back in March. So it was kind of like the last dance video I posted before I posted like one recently. But that was just kind of wild to me because that one was more performance driven, and it that was still the intention when I made it. But seeing it like going from like stage, like being with Happy Feet, that's a dance group I made back at UCLA, then going from the stage to just teaching it in class, and then I don't know, it was just kind of crazy to see the impact of what it had on the class, because that was one of the first times where I felt like everyone was genuinely happy. And for those of you that are listening to this and you see like what dance classes are on YouTube or on Instagram, it's like a very the environment it's great, but it's also, I feel like everyone's a little on edge because you want, like, everyone's so good and you want to do good as well. And it was one of those times, like one of those rare times I felt like everyone was just like happy today. No one really felt like they were trying to show each other up because the song was upbeat. I think the song was called Good Lovin' by Bobby McFerrin. And yeah, it's just like a very like it's a very like upbeat song, and it just brings so much emotion. So I think that one for sure, because that one was like, I mean, people were like smiling and like laughing, and like usually it's kind of more serious. And so
Yeah.
that was just like really surprising to me, because even like in the San Diego community, people are so, in terms of dance, they're so like hardworking and heads down, just gonna focus. But to see that, like, whoa, like that movement or that song can evoke like a different kind of emotion in that environment was really cool to me. So I'm gonna definitely say that piece to Bobby McFerrin's "Good Lovin'."
Yeah, no, that's really interesting to bring it up because I've been curious about that competitive dynamic that even pops up in classes, and I've never like had an opportunity to ask someone about it. So it's interesting
Mm,
like to hear in this case, but especially in a scenario where like you're visiting an old song, but it
mm.
essentially eliminated that competitive atmosphere, to where it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like a very fun in the moment experience.
absolutely. And not to say it like got rid of the compare, but I think it really got rid of the comparison, and like, I need to be better than her, I need to
Yeah.
be better than him. And it just became about like, I need to be like the best me, as cliche as that sounds. And that was really cool because I really felt that. And I think we always, as educators and teachers, we try to say like, yo, like just try to get better, like yourself. But it's so hard because for dancers, we live in the mirror and you see everyone else, and you're like, damn, she's really getting it, I'm not. I feel like shit. And so it was cool because it really felt like everyone was just like, yo, like, I feel like I'm kind of getting it. And it's just, that's like what we try, that's why I try to promote in my classes, is just, you just want to outdo yourself. You shouldn't be comparing your journey to anyone else's. And I think that goes the same for life too. So I really enjoyed that one.
No, definitely. And it's always fun hearing people talk about going back to old pieces because that's something that I've recently started doing as well.
Mm.
Like some of these old songs, or rather, most of them were written back in high school or in that transition point where I was going from like high school to college. And of course, like I'm a different person. My mindset's changed. I've gone through different life experiences, and it's fun being able to go to these old pieces where like the core of the song is still the same, but maybe the way that I want to tell the story is completely different.
Mm, I
Yeah.
love that.
And like, more often than not, it does turn out to be like a better song, just, in terms of maturity. Uh,
Yes.
whether you just have a better understanding of musicality or you have a firmer um, standpoint in terms of how to write something lyrically. So like, it's like a fun growing process with like a nostalgic element tied with it, at least from what I found.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can have said it better. Just having it marinate and just knowing it, like the ins and outs of that song. It changes everything. It really does.
Yeah. I guess on the flip side of that, are there any pieces that you're like, I don't know if this is the right word, but are a little embarrassed by? Like, I can't believe I did choreo to that
Embarrassed
song.
by, oh no. You know what? I think it's
Or like something you wish you did differently.
no, it's not embarrassed. I just think, in the moment, you're like, I like to think that, the work you put into your art, it's like, that's the best that I can do at this moment in time,
Yeah.
in terms of when you like, you know, record it and then you put it out there. And when I watch old videos of me dancing, I just cringe. and not like in the like, oh, like, I suck
Is it
already,
because of
but
the
just like,
mustache, like the old
yeah,
mustache?
probably, it's probably the mustache, but it's just, I see so many things. I'm just like, man, like it felt good then, but then like on the outside perspective, being like where I am now, not to say like I'm like the almighty or whatever, but just like being like, man, like it's really cool to see. Even I thought I peaked in a sense. It's like I'm nowhere where I am today, and it's cool to kind of see that progression. And I think it just takes how you look at it. Like you can easily be like, oh damn, like that was really terrible, like I hate that, but I'm not ashamed of it. It's more so just like embracing it and being like, dude, that's awesome that like I have improved. That shows I've, the work that you've been doing since, I'm referring to a specific video in 2012, and I'm just like, man, like, and that's 8 years, right? And that's not it's not too long ago, but that is like what, like almost more than a third of my life.
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah, so it's just kind of crazy. So I wouldn't say embarrassed, but definitely just like, wow, like I'm happy that I've improved, and I feel like I've improved a lot in many ways.
Dang, you're such a positive person.
I mean, you have to try to be. I feel like,
Yeah,
especially
which
like
is great.
being,
Yeah,
like being in the arts world and being in entertainment. It's like, you get told no 1,000 times before you hear yes, and you kind of get thick skin of that, and you have to just, whether you're conditioned or you just have to trick yourself into being like, I have to be positive because I have to keep pushing forward,
yeah.
or else you're just gonna stop like, most other people, I guess. So I try to be, but I also get really down on myself too. So I'm no different than anyone else.
Oh, so you're not a superhero then?
No, absolutely not. Nope.
Even
No
after your
cape,
like your
no mask.
100 like day workout challenge, you're not a superhero?
What's so funny is I actually just switched that up. I switched it up like, I started on October 1st. I like to switch stuff up in the beginning of the month, but I started
Yeah.
doing 200.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, I started doing 200. I do 100 diamond, 50 narrow wide, and I do 50 wide. And I took and I've been doing this since I did the 100, but when we were working out back at Wooden at UCLA, the gym is called Wooden. Shout out to the greatest college coach ever, John Wooden. But the pauses, like, and it literally takes me 45 minutes to do them, and it takes me forever because I'm like,
Yeah.
ugh. And so it's great though. I mean, it's like I just was like, all right, hundreds easy now. And then I just made a really drastic jump. I was like, all right, October 1st, I was like, let's just try 200. And I was really sore. So I'm doing a week 200. And then literally yesterday I did like 100 as like a rest day, and then
Like a
like
cool
just jump
down
back in.
day?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like to
Okay.
still do it, like not to completely drop off. So yeah, so it's my body's still very much shocked right now. I'm very sore. I'm
I mean,
very
as you
sore.
should be. That's a pretty big jump. It's a
But
commendable jump. I'll give you that.
I'm
Like,
I'm trying I'm
dang,
trying, man. I'm trying.
making everyone else in quarantine feel really bad about
No,
themselves,
you know what? I
and I
think
commend you for that. Make
I
people feel guilty about being lazy in quarantine,
no, no, no.
myself included.
No. It's for me. It's like, I feel like I have to do it. I feel
Yeah,
like,
no, I feel you. Yeah.
like I feel like everyone's doing their own thing, whether it's a combination of things that they enjoy and love, and especially to get through these times right now. It's like that and like reading have been like a lifesaver to me. So never thought I'd say, but yeah.
I mean, I was gonna transition to something completely different, but let's talk about you in fitness. Let's talk about that really quickly.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I
Let's do
mean,
it.
yeah, like you're obviously very physical because of a dancer, but like, where
Yeah.
the fitness thing stem from?
Man, what's really wild is that, in all honesty, I think the fitness thing really stemmed from insecurity, because being an only usually I was like one of the only males in dance class growing up, whether it was in ballet and I was wearing tights, or like we always had to, while most of the other, like the women in class would be stretching, or the men, we have to just do push-ups, which it's kind of stupid now that I think about it. I feel like everyone should be doing the same thing. But I just remember, like, even with partner work, it was hard for me. Like at a young age, obviously I was in sixth, seventh grade, so I hadn't even gone through puberty yet. But I always really, like, I was always a skinny kid, and I still am really slim. So I think it's just knowing that I was in dance and having that like stigma of like, oh, like dancers are weak, like they're not athletes, like that, and just being like slim and just being like, dude, I'm like so scrawny. Like I needed to do that. So I was actually even doing this in high school. Like I was doing the hundreds in high school. Not as great a technique now, like the similar to when I was talking about the dance has evolved. It's also even the technique in just doing those workouts. But I truly believe that it it really stemmed from insecurity. And I was like, you know what? I want to get really good at this. I've always been like, if I'm weak at something, I want to really explore that and get good at that because that's important because I don't want that to always be like my crux or my
Yeah.
weakness. So I'm gonna definitely honestly, I'm gonna say insecurity.
Yeah. And I do believe that is very common among many of us, myself included. And it is a physical transformation. If you see something that you're not comfortable with as part of your body image, then naturally you want to do something to change it. That being
Hmm.
like, diving into fitness. So like I totally hear you there. And it is also commendable to stick with it, knowing that, fitness is a journey. It's not like a short-term destination thing.
Yeah,
And the fact that you're still
absolutely.
like doing the 100s, now 200s, like that's dope. So keep doing it.
No,
Because like
absolutely.
when you start doing on Instagram, it's like, oh, that's a new thing.
Yeah, and honestly, that was more to hold me accountable
Yeah.
because I've always, I felt like, at least in the beginning stages, like I was like, I need to do this to like really hold myself accountable. And then it got to a point, if I did it later in the afternoon, people would message me and be like, hey, like you haven't posted your workout yet. And it was like, whoa, like you're actually watching. And that was really cool. And so, and it got to a point, obviously, where I felt like, okay, I don't need that pressure anymore. I feel like I just do better with like pressure.
Yeah.
And so after doing that for what, maybe I think I know I took one rest day on the 81st day. I remember that because I
Yeah.
was really too sore to work out. But I think I was at 124 and I just stopped posting. And that was during the time when civil unrest and there was a lot of things. And, I was going out and I think I was just trying to put my energy towards more important things. And I felt like, okay, like I need to stop spamming like me. I feel like people get it. They know, like, if you
Yeah.
know me, there was nothing left to prove. I was like, okay, I had that accountability. Now I just do it in like my own, my I don't post it anymore. And people still ask, like, you still doing it? I'm like, yes, I'm still doing it. So yeah, but I definitely needed it first. Like I needed to be like, I needed to be held accountable, or else I'm like, I'll just take a break here. And then you
Yeah.
just go
No
down
one's
that
gonna
rabbit
know.
hole.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's like me and when I first started powerlifting, especially in terms of the consistency thing, holding
Hmm.
myself accountable. Um, yeah, very like-minded there, of like minds. Plug in the podcast. Uh,
People, if this is not, if you're gonna put this on other platforms, people can't see me pointing, but there's a pause and I just point at the logo because I just printed it out. It's in the background right here.
yeah, which is funny because for those of you watching, Kevin like literally told me about this like 2 days before we record this podcast, and I'm surprised that it's there already. I thought it was gonna be
Yeah,
like, oh, like I'll be there like next week, but
no,
no,
I
it's
need
already
to
there on
get
the
that
wall
done. I literally did it yesterday, and I was like, I need to get this done. They were like, when do you want to pick it up? And I was like, I
now.
looked at them, and they were like, we can have it done in 15 minutes. I was like, cool.
Just gave him a look.
Yeah, no, literally, that's what happened. It wasn't like a like you better do this, but it was
Yeah,
more like a like I want this. Like I told them the whole spiel, like it's a logo for this thing I
yeah,
do. And I was like, I was hoping they get the idea, like, oh, this like means a lot to me. And they eventually did, had to look at them, but they made it happen. It's beautiful and it's here now. And I have an extra one too. They actually gave me an extra one, which is just an extra printout.
oh,
So
dope.
I have one like rolled up in the closet. So that was very nice of them.
Wow. Shout out to who was that?
FedEx. Shout out to
FedEx.
FedEx. Yes. Shout out to FedEx.
Sponsored podcast.
Right? Oh man, I
Yeah.
wish.
I don't know. FedEx is getting heat though, so I don't know if I want their advertisement money.
Are they?
I feel like FedEx, UPS, all those services, like they're getting heat.
Okay, maybe we
Yeah.
won't be sponsored by them. We can do something else. We can do we can do Squarespace or something. They seem to be doing really well. I see them on a lot of see
We
them
can
everywhere.
no, let's get a sponsorship from Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Which transitions into ultimately the topic I want to talk about. Let's talk about
Okay, let's
Yu-Gi-Oh.
let's
Let's
oh
just
my
go
god.
into it.
Okay, let's get into
Tell
it.
me about how Yu-Gi-Oh is your actual passion and not dance.
Oh my god. Well, it's I've never been I feel like a lot of people, and I think also I'll speak to a lot of guys that I know, like our friends, really love video games. And I think I enjoy it too. I'll play, but I've never really had like my own gaming system. I've had it at times, but I would just get bored of it and sell it. But I've always really been into trading cards. So Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, that was kind of my initial like learning how to invest in like value of things. And I was like, because I wasn't getting my mom wasn't buying me she wasn't buying me shit. Like she was like, this is dumb. So I kind of had to hustle and trade up to get like the good stuff, like the Charizards, and or like for Yu-Gi-Oh, like the Blue Eyes and the Dark Magicians, and
Like the
you it's
limited
crazy.
holographic versions.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just trade a bunch of commons and you just move. It was wild. So Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon will always play a special, like have a special place in my heart, just because it's weird to say, but it's taught me like values and how to invest and how to trade and how to kind of be a salesman essentially, and kind of still things I do a little bit to this day. So I love them so much. I don't play anymore, but I still have my cards, and they're just so fun. Like, I don't know how you cannot.
Yeah. I remember like picking it back up again in college, and like
Yes.
I saw you bring out your cards. I saw Ryan Pinonas bring out his cards. It's
Yes.
like, oh, I gotta get my own cards now. So I like walked down to Target. I bought a new deck,
Yes. Yeah.
opened it in the apartment, and started playing. And you just wrecked me every single round.
Yeah. And James Pasalo, our other roommate,
Yeah,
he also played. We even played in the dorms, like even our first couple years. So I mean, honestly, I actually still watch some of the anime just as like white noise. Like I just
yeah,
enjoy it so much. It's like it's another guilty pleasure too. It's like I think
that's totally fine, dude. I
I'm a
watch a lot
big
of anime.
I'm a big geek at heart, but I love it. I just love
We're all
those
geeks at heart.
yeah. This is
Yeah,
me getting nostalgic. It's just I think anything from childhood is just like you associate like good times and you associate like genuine happiness, and just like you weren't really your problems when you were a kid were just like they were so trivial compared to what it is now.
yeah. Like we weren't doing taxes as kids, you
No,
know.
exactly. It's just like, oh, I want to grow up. I want to grow up. And now we're just like, damn, I want to be a kid. I want to be a kid. So it's just funny how the grass is always greener. But
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know what you want to talk about, man, but I can go all day about Yu-Gi-Oh! And
we can
Pokemon.
go all day about Yu-Gi-Oh. Did you ever have a dual disc?
I
Did you have
you
the
know
dual
what's
disc?
you know what's funny? I did with my cousin. Yes, the thing that sucked though is that you had to like have your cards out of the plastic,
Yeah,
put them in there. It would kind of them up, so it was kind of dumb, but it looked cool. It felt
yeah, it
really
looked cool.
cool.
Yeah, like I
It
had a
felt
dual
really
disc
cool.
also, but it was like whenever I tried to do like a cool move exactly from the anime, like all the cards would just fall out.
Exactly. It never played out. It never looked as good as it was in the
Yeah,
show. Even though we'd still try it and you try to give it a chance, and like you said, your would just fall out.
yeah. It's funny too because like I was the only one that had a dual disc, and I would always play like standing up, looking over my cousin.
Oh, that's
Like,
rude.
oh wait, I can't see what's on your board, so I had to like bring it down to them. But then of course like all the cards would fall
No.
out, so they would
Oh
see everything I was about
my
to play.
god, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So I never made it as a professional duelist. Obviously, I had a very short-lived career. I think I topped out in like sixth grade.
Oh my gosh. I think we have phases, right? I mean, there's definitely been
Yeah.
times where I put my cards and they just kind of collected dust, but you just always come back to it and you're like, whoa, like this is worth how much? And then I don't know.
Yeah.
It's my, yeah.
It's great that you like still kept it going though. Like not just like in terms of like nostalgia value, but just in terms of actual monetary value that your cards are gaining.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's during quarantine too, and I'm sure this is like this with you and people that are listening is like when we can't go out and we're not really getting that like rush of spending our cash on like things we enjoy. Like I actually was like, dude, like I just came across my cards and I was like, man, like I kind of want to like it's like fine art to me, and like I
Yeah.
kind of started buying just like the ones I really wanted, and then like you see the scarcity because these cards came out like 20 years ago, and I'm like, whoa, like this is actually holding value, which is cool. So it's just like it's kind of I know it's like it's a bit of everything. I always like equate it to like I hate spending money on food because once you eat the food it's gone, but like your car I literally have like I have like a some special cards
Yeah.
like right
Once you
behind my
eat the cards,
computer.
the joy lasts forever.
No, it's like it just lives. Like once you have it, and that's it.
Yeah.
And like
I feel you.
like it's not gonna go anywhere. It's just like an amazing piece of art that just takes you back to like a really good time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Going to the series, who was your favorite duelist and how come Tristan was always trash?
Tristan was trash.
Is
Teo
it
was
did he even duel
trash.
at all? I think maybe one episode.
Maybe, but God, oh my God, like no. I will say this: favorite duelist Yugi, because
Okay.
but character.
Joey Wheeler.
No, absolutely not. Character is I've always had an affinity for like the second the supporting role. So my favorite character is actually Kaiba.
Okay.
He's just such an ass. And I feel like I'm like that. Even like in Dragon Ball Z, like I love like as much as I love Goku, like I'm a Vegeta guy all the way.
Oh,
Like
okay, that's interesting.
I like the Power Rangers. Like everyone loved Red Ranger. I
Were you a
love
Green
Green.
Ranger?
I was it abs. Green was my favorite color, so Green
Damn.
was my
Okay.
favorite.
I was Blue Ranger.
And Green Ranger became bad. So it's like I always have this like thing for like or Pokemon Ash. Like no, I love Brock for some reason. And Brock always would like
Okay,
he would
well,
always
Brock's not really like an equivalent. He wasn't like an antagonist
I
at any
know,
point.
but he was part of the trio, right? And
Yeah.
he was I don't know, it's just like I always like it's not the main person, it's always like the supporting role that I really just like I really feel like I can like relate to. I don't know if that makes sense. You're a Blue
No,
Ranger guy though. You're a Blue
I was a
Ranger?
Blue Ranger guy, yeah, but largely because I like blue is my favorite color.
See,
Yeah,
yeah. But that was when you were a kid, right? Like
that's when I was a kid.
is blue still your favorite color?
Um, I don't think it's my favorite per se, but I still find myself gravitating towards blue things. Like, oh, like a really nice denim jacket. That's blue. Okay, that's like a example, but like, yeah, like I still gravitate towards blue. It's not
Yeah.
like my die-hard favorite color, but yeah,
Uh,
it's like it's up there.
yeah.
Yeah, better than orange. Orange is actually, I think, my least favorite color.
Ooh, yeah. There wasn't even a Power Ranger that was orange, right?
I would hope not. Otherwise, that was a very short-lived season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of ground. Definitely want to touch base with you on you and dance because that speaks to a lot of who you are, where you've been, and what you are currently doing. Definitely want to touch on Yu-Gi-Oh as well, among a few other things. I started doing this with the last podcast, and I think it's very interesting to kind of flip the format of the show. So I guess like
Yeah.
before we sign off, is there anything that you want to ask of me that the viewers should know about, or even just you want to know about personally?
About you?
Yeah, we're flipping the script where the guest becomes the host for the last bit.
Whoa, I love this. And I get to pose the question.
Yeah, you can ask whatever you want, dude.
Do I only get one question?
There aren't any rules to this thing. It's a podcast. It is
All
what
right,
it is.
I have a
Yeah,
couple.
the only people watching this are friends and family. So
All right, I got a couple. Then I got a couple.
go for it.
What is your biggest fear and why?
Biggest fear and why? Ooh, that's a good one. I One that comes to the top of my head, I think, is the fear of failing to meet expectations, both expectations that people have of me, as well as failure to meet my own expectations. Um, Part of that, I believe, stems from being the oldest in the family, knowing that I have two younger siblings that look up to me. As the oldest, as the kuya, you kind of set that example. So I think that's something that is rooted in terms of that fear. At times, yes, it is irrational, but I think it sets like good pressure in a way in terms of
Mm,
being that older person that the younger siblings and even like other family members can lean on.
I got a couple more.
Okay, go for it.
Would you rather be half your height or double your weight?
Well, I mean, I'm 5'6". I guess I could go shorter than that, but let's go double my weight. I want to see what that looks like.
All right,
But
another
wait,
little
actually,
chill.
wait, take that back. Is it like double my weight but like the same height?
So you can either choose like one, like so your stats right now. Would you rather be same weight, but now you're like 2'8", or would you rather be same height, but then you're now like what are you like 100 pounds? So you'd be like 200 pounds. You know what I mean, like that, like that.
I'm not 100. I'm not like a feather.
All right,
I
you
mean, that's a heavy ass
140,
feather,
50.
but that's, oh damn. That would not be a good look. I think I would have to. Yeah, I gotta do half my height. If I was like the same
Okay.
height and double my weight, like, oh, that'd be so unhealthy.
All right, two more, two
Okay.
more.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Senses. If you could only have one, which one would you choose? Would it be smell? Would it be taste? Would it be sight, hearing, or touch? Which one would you need and why? Only one.
Like visualizing in my head like the different scenarios.
Or you could just, yeah.
Oh, that
I'm very interested to see what you say with this because I feel like you're gonna go two ways, and I'm gonna explain
Yeah.
after.
I think I would retain my sense of hearing.
I knew it. I knew it. It's
Yeah.
because you're a music person. I knew it. I
Yeah.
figured it was gonna be between hearing and sight. A lot of people say sight. A lot of people like don't want to like this is so important. But I was like, I think he's gonna say hearing. I love that.
Yeah.
You really a music person.
Well, I was thinking about like in terms of how I would go about my day. If the one thing that I had to keep was like anything, definitely hearing. It would be hard communicating, obviously. Like I would because I don't have a sense of touch. I can't learn Braille. Because I
Yeah.
can't see, I can't learn sign language. But having that audio ability, I would still want to retain that if possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right, Matt. Last one.
Okay. Go for it.
If you're cool to share,
Okay.
when was the last time you cried and
Last
why?
time I cried. Last time I cried was last night, just hoping I would meet your expectations for today.
Bullshit. Get out of here.
That's a good
Only if you're
one.
cool though. Only if you're cool
No,
with
no,
it.
yeah. I'm trying to think. The last time I cried,
He's such a
I
man's man. He doesn't cry.
no, it was sometime recent. I'm just trying to remember exactly what it was from. I think the last time I cried was I think the last time I cried was from an anime series.
Oh shoot. Which
Yeah.
one?
I don't remember which one specifically because like I've been watching so many back to back that it's kind of like just this anime blur at this point.
Hmm.
But there was one series that I think because like the progression of the story, I was just very pulled in by emotionally, and thus I cried a bit.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. Look at that.
yeah, it was
It's
so
amazing.
emotional, so touching. It kind of sucks that I don't remember the name of it,
Yeah, I'm
so
like, come on, man. You gotta remember. You
I
gotta let
gotta
the people
remember.
know.
I gotta think back to it because maybe it was like a month or two ago. It
Mm,
was something like that.
pretty recent.
Yeah, it was pretty recent. Like regardless of the title, it was definitely like while watching anime. That was 100% the reason why I cried.
I love that. You're a true artist. You know real art when you see it,
I don't
man.
know if that makes me an artist. That probably just makes me that just makes me a weeb.
No. Well,
Yeah.
thank you
Oh
guys
wait,
coming
wait,
on
wait.
for my
Okay, no,
podcast. I'm just kidding.
I had one more question. I have one more question.
Oh, okay. So we're
Yeah,
switching back to you. Okay.
we're switching it back. We're switching it back.
Gotta
Okay.
put on a
So
different hat.
there's a basketball. Okay, so if you're
Okay.
playing like a one-on-one of your roommates, who would you pick to be that other person playing with you? Like if
Wait,
you're like a
one on one?
or not one-on-one, like if you were like doing a two-on-two game of like at Wooden or something, like which of your four roommates from college would you
You
need to
want to
have
name
with you?
them? Because I don't know which ones you're talking. You could be talking about Louise. You could be talking about
Oh,
Diamse. I don't
that's
know which
true.
one.
I mean, I was thinking like the OG,
Okay,
but
so let the
okay,
people
but if we
know.
expand it, I'm obviously counting myself out because I can't ball to save my life. Basketball for the matter. Volleyball's a different
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
So be between James, Ryan, Raymar, Matt Diamse, Mikey, and I guess Louise, if Louise balls. I don't know. You mentioned him, so I'm just gonna throw him in the
Man.
ring. Yeah, throw him into the ring.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say this first before I give an answer. I honestly would go to battle with any of those guys. I honestly, and personally, I'm that person that, when you play, especially a sport, basketball is my favorite sport. Like, I honestly don't care who's on my team. Like, you could be my best friend, or if you're on the other team, I hate you, So
Yeah.
I would honestly go to battle with any of these guys. Now, having said that, if you're gonna give me the option and the choice,
Yeah. Now that we established that, you're not trying to hurt anyone's feelings or ruin any friendships here.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think, man, it's hard because I can see reasons why, and I'm gonna speak on the ones that mostly balls. So that's Ryan, Mikey, and Raymar. But I think just with me being a little bit taller and I would want a little bit more size, I'd probably go Mikey.
Oh, okay.
I go Mikey because I play with Mikey the most. And I play with Raymar and Ryan a lot, but play with Mike. I play with Mikey because I think we both bring completely different things. He's a great shooter, and I like to do. I'm decent, but I like to do all the other things that I give Mikey shit for not necessarily doing. So it
So
would be
you
a good, it would
compliment
be
each other.
it'd be a good compliment where I
Okay.
know Ryan and Raymar are and they're all competitive.
Yeah.
But and because of that, I'm gonna say I'll go with Mikey. But I'll go to war with Raymar and I'll go to war with Ryan as well. So, but because I have to answer this question, I'll say Mikey.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious about that. That was actually the one thing I was thinking about last night in terms of, oh, what are things I could ask Kevin that he's never been asked before?
Yeah, I've never been asked. I love
Yeah,
that. That's awesome.
yeah. Just want to
Let's
like
all
trip.
run. Damn, we should all run. I want to play. I haven't played in so long.
Yeah, I
I
think the last time I saw you play was like those pickup games back in the OC.
oh my
Or no,
god, was
not
it the
pickup
year
games. It
we
was a
won?
tournament. It wasn't like a tournament or
Was it?
something.
It was a tournament. I don't know what
Yeah.
year you came, but we did win one year, which was awesome. So, um, see, this is what oh man, you're making me miss these guys even more. I love it. But I have love for all of them. All of them. I'll run fives with all of them.
Hell yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. So sweet. Okay, well, I think that about does it here. We got like a lot of good content. And as always, it was fun just chatting with you. Honestly, I thought we were gonna do like half an hour. Obviously, we just lost track of time because it was so
Yeah.
fun.
Oh wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um I guess before we sign off here, wanna like plug anything? Tell us about what's new going on in your life, anything that we should be on the lookout for.
Yeah, I think I mean mostly what kind of brought us more in touch post grad is really been content creation. So I think I'm doing a little bit more on YouTube and not as much with dance wise, but just more so content in other ways and other passions. And so one, I want to shout out to you, Matt, for one, giving me this platform, but two, being a huge reason why my page looks, really great. And you've been doing a lot of heavy lifting there. So I want to shout out to you. I want to shout out to Ryan Pinones for also doing a lot of back work as well. And then, of course, I definitely want to shout out to Denise Sabio for making this awesome logo right here that I printed out and need to have on my wall because I absolutely love it. It's the podcast logo. So I just want to say shout out to you three and everyone that's still pushing their art and grinding even amidst this pandemic. But just stay on the lookout for the content I put out on YouTube. It's Kevin Belisario, literally one word. Podcast, lifestyle, dance. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, lifestyle dance, soon to be Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It's
Box
all
breaks, I'm
coming.
telling you,
Box breaks, they're
it
coming.
really is.
I'm excited. I'm hyped.
I'm excited too, man. I
Yeah.
really appreciate this. This is super fun and looking forward to doing this again.
Hell yeah. So thanks again for, hopping on. I know I'll talk to you after this. But until
Yes,
then, have a great rest of your day. And yeah,
absolutely.
love you, man.
Love you too, man. I'll talk to you.
Cool. See you, dude.